The Princess and the Frog Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi guys! So in today's video I'm going to be doing a Princess and the Frog nail art design that has Tiana and all the gang on there and Lewis, who's my personal favorite. So I hope you like this, and don't forget to click subscribe to see my future videos as well.
Begin by painting your thumbnail purple and the rest a medium shade of teal. On my ring nail with brown paint, I'm going to begin by painting the shape of Tiana's face. And so you're going to want to make sure that you leave room above for her hair, because you don't want, you really want to make sure that you can get at least her crown in there. So add her face and then her neck below, and then I'm going to be painting her hair in with black. And adding her bun. And then carrying that hair down around her ear. And adding just a little curl down below her ear. I'm going to add a second layer of brown paint over her face, and that way I can add some of the shading and dimension. So I'm going to take and blend in some white just to highlight the different areas of her face, like her forehead and chin mostly. And then also add just a little bit more of that highlight on her neck. And now I'm going to be adding a few of the outlines with black. So I'm going to outline her nose, her jawline, inside her ear. And when you're doing outlines with black like this, you want to make sure that you dip just the very tip of your brush into the black paint. Otherwise, if you have too much paint on your brush, your lines are going to get really thick and they're going to be a lot less controlled and easier, and they're a lot harder to manage that way. Add the outline of her eyes and her eyebrows, and I also outlined for her mouth. And then with white, fill in her eyes. And do some more touching up with the black. Add the color in her eyes with brown and black pupils. And then add a burgundy shade over her lips, and then just a little bit of that burgundy over her cheeks just to give them some color. And you can blend that in or make it blend in nicely with a little bit of water. And then I'm going to be painting her headband with a moss green color. So first paint the line around her hair, and then add a couple little leaves along the edge of the headband. And now my middle nail with a grass green color, I'm going to be painting the shape of Prince Naveen in frog form. So I'm going to start with his head, and make sure you add the little area of his eyebrows at the top of his head to make sure that you have room for that. And then add a little bit of his body. I'm not doing his entire body, just mostly trying to focus on his face. And then fill in the tip. And then I'm going to be blending in some white into this color. This is going to help brighten up and add your shading, and I'm doing this right from the get-go instead of letting the green dry and then going back in with a second coat. I figured I might as well just go all in right from the beginning. So I'm going to be blending in some of that white over near where his eyebrows are, and then on his chin and down his chest a little bit. And then I'm going to be outlining it, so I'm going to start with black, and I'm going to outline his mouth. And just like I said before, when you're doing the outlines, make sure that you use really a little bit of paint only, and this is going to make all of your design go so much smoother and easier when you make sure not to use too much paint. And then add his eyes, so I first started with his eyelids and then add his eyes below, give him his eyebrows, and then do just a little bit more outlining to make sure that everything shows up nice, crisp, and clear. And then I'm going to be filling in his eyes with white and adding his teeth. And so you're basically going to be filling in his mouth with white. And then add black pupils and separate his upper and lower teeth. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of pink on the sides of his mouth for the little bit of gums that shows. So then on your index nail, I'm going to be painting Lewis. So I'm going to start at the top of his head again, and then add his little eyes, and then his nose coming out from the side, just like this. And I'm using a moss green color paint, the same color that I used on Tiana's headband. And I'm going to add his lower jaw and his mouth coming down, and then the back of his head and his cheek. And then I'm going to be filling in his mouth of his lower jaw, so where you can actually see inside, with a dark red color. And then I'm going to be highlighting his snout with some white. So while that green paint is still wet, you're just going to blend in white, and that's going to give you a lighter shade of the color that you used in the beginning. And highlight down below his mouth and his cheek a little bit there, and down around the side and over on his eyebrows, or where his eyebrows will be. And then with a grass green or a darker shaded green, I'm going to add the vertical scales down his back that you see from the side a little bit. And now I'm going to be adding my outlines. So I'm going to start by outlining his snout, and then around his mouth. And when you're doing outlines, another thing is that I like to start with the lines that I know for sure. So there's always going to be some lines where like, ugh, is this really where they go? So start with the ones that you're confident with, and then work your way towards the ones that you're not as confident with. And it's hopefully going to make that easier for you. And outline around his mouth a couple times, just like that. And then add his eyes, or the outlines of his eyes, eyebrows, and then fill in his eyes with white. And add his teeth. I'll add his pupils, but then we're going to be adding his teeth. And so you're going to want to add some teeth on the end of his snout coming down. And then you're also going to need to add some teeth in his lower jaw. On my thumb with gold paint, I'm going to be painting the princess and so the princess is the biggest part of this. And so I'm going to start with that in the center, with the C in the very middle of my nail, and I'm painting this horizontally. Well, it's vertically, but it ends up, yeah, you can see, hopefully. And then I'm going to start with the C and work my way out towards the S, and then I'm going to go backwards and add the first part of the word. And on this logo, the P and the end S are a little bit larger than the rest of the letters. Above that, really small, you're going to want to write the, and then underneath it, really small, write and the. And so the first the that's above princess should be in the middle, and then and should be off to one side, and the should be off to the other side underneath it. And then underneath all of that, we're going to be writing frog. So I'm going to start with a circle for the O, add the G after it. And this is with a really bright green color paint. And then add the F and the R before it. And then within your O, within the circle, just add sort of a little W shape for the little bit of a crown. On your pinky, I'm going to be painting a flower with a moss green color paint, and it's going to be like the one that is on Tiana's dress. And so I know it actually almost doesn't really look like much on the nail, but it does match the one that is on her dress. So first, and I actually used a really pale cream color in the beginning there, and then I'm using the moss green that I've been using throughout this design to do the outlines on it. I just really like the shape of this flower. Otherwise, you could leave the nail green, or you could paint Tiana in frog form if you wanted, but just fill in that thumb or that pinky nail with some kind of design. And then with cream, I'm going to be adding the stamens. And of course, add a layer of top coat. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this design. Please share any recreations with me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I would really love to see them. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!